Yes, by half a point. And I have to share the wealth of wisdom, not only with fellow Celtic fan Nick Wright, but also with our esteemed researcher, Dusty, who's like, hey, 15 and a half points. And Dusty has gone back to the well. No rest for the greatness of Dusty, our researcher, and has updated the graphics. The Celtics are even better after a loss now. They went from 15 and a half to 15.6 in wins after a loss. So fantastic job. Here's the biggest thing that I want to focus on, Broussard. And I said it after game 2. I thought it was the turnovers were just brutal. 19 turnovers that led to 33 points. Right. And I don't think that turnovers are necessarily being careless with the ball. If you watch game 2, the Celtics would almost get nervous with the ball. They'd get Tatum, people would collapse on Tatum. Tatum would get nervous, throw the ball away. It just felt like nerves. Last night, the Celtics played totally loose and free. They bounced back big after losses. They've done it all year. And I think we were a little bit worried about the home court advantage. I thought it was great outside of some fan behavior that we'll get into later. But I thought the Celtics played so free and loose, Broussard. Easy win for us.
Well, look, I wasn't as down on Tatum as you were after the first 2 games, but I do think he looked more comfortable last night. He clearly was more confident, looked like he was going to the rim with more strength and more conviction, and I thought that boded well, obviously, for the Celtics. Look, I said yesterday, I think they needed this game more than the Warriors. I think the Warriors get the next game. We go back to San Francisco to assuming Steph is fine. But give the Celtics credit. Look, they knew that the Warriors had the momentum. You can't let them beat you for the second straight time. It would have been your first back-to-back losses in 5 months. And to do that, with all due respect to Milwaukee and Miami, those teams were banged up. And those teams are not 3-time champions like the Golden State Warriors. So I think Boston understood, Nick, we can't lose our mojo, if you will, with this thing we have going after losing games to the Warriors, because it might just spiral downhill from there. And they're Jaylen Brown, who we know that Tatum's the best player, but Jaylen Brown is a legitimate star, not a superstar, but a legitimate star. He is Finals MVP right now. I thought he was even going into the game for the Celtics, but he definitely is right now. But he did what he's done this postseason. In game 1, whenever their backs are against the wall and they need something done, Jaylen Brown steps up. Game 1, you're down 12 after a horrible third quarter. He sparked the fourth quarter rally with 10 points and 2 assists early in the quarter. And then last night comes out, sets the tone. You showed it last segment, goes directly at Draymond Green. It's like the dude walking in jail who don't want to be messed with and says, you know what, let me pick out the biggest, baddest inmate and beat him down to show everybody else don't mess with me. That's what Jaylen Brown did in the first quarter. And you know, hey, it is what it is.
I mean, honestly,
you know,
that's a good point. I like the analogy.
So that's it.
Yeah, I agree, bro.
I mean, one that we can all relate to.
Listen, here's what I think should be so reassuring for the Celtics. And then I want to say something about what Bruce said. If we were giving out letter grades for the Celtics Wilds, none of them get an A+. But every single player played well. Jaylen Brown was excellent early, slowed down a bit late. Tatum had a bit of a slow start, missed some layups, was really good in the fourth quarter. Marcus Smart had like a quiet 24 points, but got some huge layups right when the Celtics needed it in that third quarter when the Warriors were pushing. You're like, oh, Al Horford was efficient. I thought Time Lord was sensational. I thought Time Lord's impact on the game, Robert Williams, was great. Peyton Pritchard came in, knocked down 1-3. I know Derek White had some big moments defensively. Everyone played well, and nobody played great. Nobody had a non-sustainable game. So that's what's so reassuring for Boston. Now I want to go to something Bruce said. because Wilds, I'm sure you noticed, Jenna, I'm sure you noticed. Bruce said, now I think the Warriors are going to win Game 4 and go back to San Francisco 2-2.
I said it
and
with more
comment
conviction
was
than that.
missing something.
Yeah.
Much more.
Not much.
I thought it was a
and it was
microphone
certainly
issue.
missing
No, it
some
wasn't.
bass. No, it was a little trepidation, a little concern.
No.
And here's the problem. I am fresh out of olive branches. And as we know, per the First Things First bylaws, which Brew is a big fan of, you are only allowed to switch your pick if the team you have picked is either winning or tied in the series. You can't be switching picks when a team's trailing, not without an olive branch being extended. So I'd love to even say Brew has the option to come over to the team that's going to win the title, the Boston Celtics, but that option's not available to him. So instead, he's got to be like, well, you know, maybe. Yeah, right. But I switched within the bylaws, Jen. A team was tied. The series was one game apiece, basically a new series. In some ways, the series hadn't even started. You know what I mean? You got to check the bylaws, Jenna. We update them, but that one's been there for quite some time. So, Brew, I just want to ask you just real quick, how you feeling this morning, buddy? Because you got a lot of mockery of your old buddy Nick Wright for flip-flopping. But if you flip-flop and end up being like, what's better, to flip-flop and be right or to stay true and just be wrong again? Just wrong again.
No, I look, when will you learn, Nick Wright? You came at me the same exact way in the second round when they lost Game 5 to Milwaukee, right? You came at me the same exact way in the third round when they lost Game 6 at home to Miami. And I stood 10 toes down.
That happened.
And I am standing 10
on
toes down today. If
we
that
weren't even on the air after Game 6.
I don't know.
Whatever the case. They didn't play again until Sunday.
You're giving me so many olive branches, I can't keep count. All right.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.